Our next speaker is Elisa Morganti. She's an innovation project manager at Fondazione Hub Innovazione Trentino. And she's the leader of the Zoom project. So she will tell us the final result and future outlooks of the role of open licenses. Welcome on stage.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to everyone. So I'm very proud to be here presenting the results of the Zoom project. And I have to say that Zoom was present in all the edition of SFS Econ in which Zoom was thought and developed in the years. So Zoom was a project funded by the DG Research for increasing awareness about the use of open source for valorization of IP. So since it's an awareness-raising project, we struggle, obviously, to find the right message that we want to share to our target groups. So we focused more, this is why it's called Zoom, we focus on the three O's that for us are open source software, open hardware, and open data. And as I told you, we define these three main messages that we shared with our partner. I'm talking in the past because the Zoom is just ended at the end of September, and now I'm presenting you the final results, but also to share some lights on the future activities that we want to carry on. So what are the main messages? What we are trying to share that is the use of the three O's, so open source software, open hardware, and open data, can really strengthen the open innovation ecosystem and leveraging on collaborative development and participate in the global community. Open source software, hardware, and data can leverage on license characteristics for collaborative innovation and strengthen what is the collaborative effort along the value chains, research to business, business to business in open innovation. The third message is for policymakers, and then we say that open source can really help to drive innovation policies and increase sovereignty, enable sovereignty and increase European resilience. So what Zoom did for this? Zoom created a very impressive quantity of knowledge, collected knowledge on legal and business aspect of open source, and try to merge this together, creating a guidance, a best practice, providing best practice example for valorization of intellectual property through open licensing. Provide the comprehensive analysis of the link between legal and business aspects, and contribute to EU innovation policy and industrial strategy by providing policy briefs in emerging topics. Target groups for Zoom were knowledge generators, including researchers from research institutions and companies, but also supporting organizations, like, for example, Knowledge Transfer Office, Digital Innovation Hub, Patlib, OSPOS, so all these kind of supporting organizations. Then we have, as I already see, other stakeholders, like EU Commission. The consortium is composed of 11 partners from 9 countries indeed. One of the partners is the Free Software Foundation Europe, that you have seen in a lot of talk and you will see later on. And as I've seen, this is more or less the timeline. So we started with an analysis and then try to merge everything together, create a framework for business and legal aspect to combine together, and then starting with an awareness-raising campaign that ended, not really because I'm here, but ended in, at the end of September in Brussels with a conference in Brussels on open source opportunities for business and industrial application. So I cannot summarize the main findings in 5 minutes because this is the time I'm allowing for that. I just want to say that one of main interesting findings is that we use both the literature analysis and the interviews to real cases to understand what are the main drivers and risks and barriers for the adoption of open source in business, starting analyzing the structure and performance of the companies that we analyzed, and also trying to focus on aspects on business, legal, and societal conduct. So what emerged, I think that you already heard this from our keynote speakers this morning, so I'm very happy that it's very aligned with this speaker, what I'm going to present now, but the main driver for the open source, for choosing open source, open licensing, is culture as choice, because it allows transparency and democratization, it improves reciprocity and security of the result of the projects that are conducted. And then, but it's not just a matter of ethical or of doing something good, but it's also open source, open licensing can enable a variety of business models. You have seen some this morning with the Emily that presented that, and in Zoom, if I remember well, we listed 33 business models that can be used with open source software, open hardware, and open data, and not only business models but also services like the software as a service platform and other kind of services that can be built on top of the open product, open assets that the company is producing. And yes, I try to list here also some strategic advantages. You already maybe know that, but just to reminder, standardization and flexibility, the use of collective intelligence, so you can exploit collective intelligence. There is a saving in cost, the avoiding of lock-in and self-enjoyment. And but there are also some challenges and risks, because this is something that also Emily said this morning. It's not easy to find, to individuate the right value that can give you money while using open source software, open hardware, and open data. So this is the value capture is one of the main topics that one of the main challenges for companies. And then yes, there is always the influence of major players. And another thing that we observed is that the difficulty to communicate the value of open source and the community management, because we have seen a shift in the company's approach using open source from marketing to community management. So all the effort that usually traditional companies devote to marketing is now moving toward community management. So this is also a shift in mentality that is needed for that. So you can find this and more on the website. You will have a QR code later on this. But just to show you what you can find some report on the legal framework and the business framework. So literature analysis of legal aspect issues related to open source, business models, interviews, cases of companies, business, using open the trios. These are collection, as I told you, of real case of literature, but also interview to cases that we individuated. And I think you can find more or less 50, 60 cases on the report. And then we create this licensing framework that is really a combination of legal and business framework. In this report, you can find, for example, which kind of business model you can adopt according to your business strategy, according to the kind of licensing you can use. And vice versa, this is also the report suggests which kind of license you can select to enable this kind of business model. So this is something that you can find this kind of report. Then we have this very intricate matrix that is the business model innovation matrix. That is a matrix that collects all the business models for a list of business models for open source software, open hardware, and open data, and try to individuate where the value is generated. So if you say that my values is in the software, you can find the right business model stay. If you strategies that my values is not in the software itself, but in the services that I can do in this software, you can find another kind of business model. Or maybe my values in the data that I'm using for this software, you can go to this metrics and find the right business models for you. And then there is an analysis of the ecosystem, because it's very important in the open source, how in the ecosystem in which the business and the projects are generated. And then the toolkit. The toolkit is one of the main results of the project, and it is a sort of translation of all these very, very, very long reports in something that can be used by our target groups. So people can go into this toolkit and see tools that are both generated by Zoom or collected by other kind of initiatives about open asset strategies, library of cases, training materials. We produce some training materials on the Zoom topic, and then a focus on the AI as an hybrid asset. That's because also some partners of Zoom dedicated a lot of effort on the AI, open source AI definition. In fact, partners of Zoom participated also in the OSI definition of open source AI with the part on the reproducibility. And the last things that you can find there are policy briefs. So we produced 5 policy briefs. One of open source AI, one on ethics on AI, another on the freedom to operate, one on open hardware, and one on open data. And then we shared this policy brief with the Commission, and they were very well appreciated, because as you can see, they are very easy to read and to understand what is inside this policy brief. What's next? At the final conference, we launched the Zoom community. That is a community that is hosted in the AT Manufacturing Agora platform. AT Manufacturing is one of the partners of the project. And this is it is intended to be a dynamic network of people, from including software developers, business developers, strategists, venture capitalists, lawyers, patents, so something that is very dynamic in this sense. And we want to focus on some specific action on the IP valorization and industrial application using open licensing. So you can see here some of possible proposed actions, and then the community will be animated by AT Manufacturing, but with partners of Zoom that are working on that. And okay, if you want to join, just drop me an email or visit the Zoom website. You can find a call for action in the Zoom website and see, okay, give us your email, you will be invited to join the community. Thank you all.
Thank you, Elisa, for sharing with us this very interesting result of the projects. Is there any question from the public? Yes, the mic is coming.
Hello, thank you very much. The results of the projects can be more used for larger firms or for smaller communities or for academics. In your opinion, the results are used for which target group?
I think you named a different set of target groups, but I think that all of them can benefit from the results. We found examples starting from very small enterprises to large firms in our cases. So all of them can use really these results. And also for the academics, we are going to focus on it, but it's more for business side or for academics that are moving towards business. So this is something that is there. And the toolkit is intended for this kind of target groups, but also for this supporting organization that can really help their customers to valorize their IP. So this is the different dimensions.
Thank you very much. Another question?
Thank you. So I really like the project. And I think it's great that there's some tangible outcomes, but the internet is a really vast place. Are there any projects, or are there any plans, or even already processes in place that how to it kind of like outreach, or how are you communicating that to the target groups? I mean, some people will come, but mostly you will need to get to people to come to you.
Yes, this is something obviously that is not easy to us, where we are relying a lot on LinkedIn. So we have enlarging the community on LinkedIn, and the LinkedIn community page will be open still until the community start self-sustaining. So we will use this, and we rely also a lot on our partner network like FSFAE or AT Manufacturing to try to enlarge this. And we are also trying to link with major initiatives. So we are linked with BDDA, IDSA. So we have this connection with the OSI. So we are trying to link with this. Obviously, the project is over. So this is something that we are trying to do on our best effort, because all the partners believe in the project, so we think that we can continue on this side.